Turn the lights off!
Skylar, what the hell? You have a problem! Why? You're so addicted to that damn game!
I have to kill Satan. The world depends on me.
Your portion of the rent depends on you. It feels like you were possessed by Satan. Now pay the rent or I'm kicking you out.
The fate of the world lies in these two hands. If I stop now, your precious rent will be meaningless.
We're gonna kill you and not have to worry about rent and in prison. No. You need help. Go take a goddamn shower and go touch some grass.
Or maybe you're a demon working for the Prince of Darkness.
Or maybe you need a reality check. Maybe that game is the problem.
What makes you think the game is the problem?
Because you can't stop playing.
I can stop whenever I want.
Go to work, pay your bills. That's all I ask.
You only pay your own bills.
That's it. Go to jail.
I really like video games, and every now and then I'll play a game out of my never-ending backlog that my friends or the internet tell me to play because I'd probably like it. Thane has been telling me for years to play the Diablo series because I like dungeon crawlers so much. More specifically, I like the Gauntlet series. I've recently played through most of the modern Gauntlet titles, and they range from very mediocre to just plain bad. Yes, I am aware of the Diablo series and how it's hailed as dungeon crawler's finest, and how addicting it is. And they were right. It is addicting. It's like meth for gamers. It's the fastest selling PC game with 3.5 million copies sold in 24 hours and had sold over 30 million by 2015. Diablo 3 started in development in 2001, but was not released until May 15th of 2012. Diablo 2 was released in 2000. Fans waited for over a decade for Diablo 3 to come out. I was 3 years old when the second one was released, and I was 15 when the third one came out. Was it worth the wait? I've no freaking idea. I've never played Diablo 2. So you tell me, Diablo fanboys and girls. Before we get into it, I just wanted to mention that I'm not going to talk about how terrible of a company Blizzard is. There are plenty of other videos out there that do. The Actman has done several in-depth videos talking about Activision Blizzard and how they like to put their fingers in their fans' beeholes. Diablo Immortal's terrible business models I'm also not going to talk about. There are plenty of other videos on that one as well. There were, however, some controversies surrounding Diablo 3's release that I feel are relevant and interesting to say the least, but also don't help Blizzard's crappy reputation. The biggest was you always had to be connected online, which nowadays doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but back in 2012, it pissed a lot of people off. Remember how thrilled everyone was when Xbox announced that the Xbox One always had to be connected to the internet? Yes, this was definitely a transitional period and people were not happy, as well as the servers couldn't handle the sheer amount of gamer bros and brosettes wanting to kill some demons. Germany apparently had an issue with not being able to resell the digital copies of the game, and that's according to just an article I read. Going through game launchers, which is how probably 99% of most PC gamers do it nowadays, like Steam, Epic, or even Blizzard in this case, you can't resell digital games. They are connected to your account. You can, however, buy codes and then gift them to people. I've done some research on reselling game keys, and it's all pretty messy and shady buying from not licensed vendors. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, just don't get arrested. Why do I need to be connected to the internet at all times? Because of DRM, Digital Rights Management. When you buy a digital game that has DRM, you aren't really buying the game, rather you're buying a license to play said game on a specific platform or launcher like previously mentioned. A decade later, we are all used to this by now, and it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Oh, how the times have changed. The copyright stuff has been around forever, but when first introduced, always online DRM was really hated. Getting disconnected from servers, losing progress, or maybe you just had really crappy internet back in 2012. Fingers crossed Steam never goes down. And that's why I prefer physical games over digital, but that being said, physical still has its issues with like day one patches and stuff. And disk rot in 20 years. DRM is a big issue and a beast in and of itself. Welcome to modern gaming. If you're interested in learning more about DRM and what great wacky lengths companies would go to try and keep all the pirates at bay, there's a cool video by LGR that I will link in the description. None of this changes the fact that Activision Blizzard has made some bad decisions, but they do make some pretty good games. Well, how about we finally talk about Diablo 3, because that's the game I played and was addicted to for several weeks. Let's answer the question of, why is Diablo 3 so addicting? Whoa, it's colorful. Look at all the numbers. Lots of weapons. Whoa, biggest numbers. Biggest number. The game is very visually appealing with lots of things going on, giving the player constant feedback and injecting dopamine directly into our dumb gamer brains. I swear to God, game developers double as neuroscientists that understand human psychology to a T. I mean pretty colors, big numbers. Diablo is an action RPG dungeon crawler. RPGs are very addicting because you take the role of a fictitious character where you can become a god essentially by upgrading stats and collecting items and money along the way. You get to do things you otherwise can't do in the real world. Diablo 3 functions the same way. You pick a character, which there are plenty to choose from that all have different abilities and playstyles. I picked a crusader named Dickwood. Yeah, she's a badass and will eat you. The combat is pretty straightforward, but a little different from the more arcade dungeon crawlers that I was used to. You move by clicking with your mouse, no WASDs. But this is also how you attack, so that was something I had to get used to. You really have to pay attention to your cursor or you could end up moving when you are wanting to attack. You can hold down the shift key, which keeps you from moving, so you only attack. I never really used this because I got used to the clicking and moving pretty fast. It is a very grindy game, but you are rewarded for every encounter with better items, armor, weapons, gold, and XP. It incentivizes you to kill everything and look everywhere for more loot. As you level up, you get better skills and abilities that can assist your party and make combat more exciting. Lots of the abilities have runes that are essentially upgrades to said ability. Some of my favorites had me summoning horses to mow down waves of enemies, or putting shields around my teammates and I for a short period of time. The combat can become utter chaos at times, with lots of enemies surrounding you, with numbers and colors flying all over the screen, especially when you play with friends, which is way better by the way. It's almost sensory overload. And that's the name of the game. You kill things and loot to become stronger so you can kill more things and loot even more. There are different classes for weapons that have different stats and buffs, but big number equals better. I'm sure if you take the time and read all the items and whatnot, you can min-max your character to its full potential, but I felt no need. I picked which items had the biggest numbers and I used those. I'm sure on higher difficulties you'll have to actually build your character properly, but I suck at games so I play on easier difficulties. Although, we did play on expert mode and it wasn't really that hard. The RPG elements are simple to understand, and progressing my character was a real treat, unlocking all the different types of abilities and trying them out. The combat has you standing still for the most part, tanking and dealing damage. No moving or being tactical. There are block and dodge stats, which just means the enemy has a chance of missing you essentially. I'm not saying that this is bad, it's just not what I'm used to in video games. The cutscenes look incredible, and the voice acting is great.
My uncle saw what he wanted to see.
Deckard sacrificed much to protect this world. But his work is not over.
What would you know about sacrifice?
The story was fun too, with lots of twists throughout. Crazy, playing a dungeon crawler with a good story. The enemy and character designs are awesome. The demons look creepy and devilish, as well as the bosses look menacing with great designs. The level designs were cool, having you explore lots of various locales. The map you use throughout is always on display in the corner and is very helpful honestly, and it keeps you updated on useful information like where to go as well as where your teammates are. The DLC was awesome, with the coolest design of death that I have ever seen.
What? Is it the Grim Reaper?
Malfail.
It's an angel. And yes.
The game has so much replayability with all the different characters you can choose from, the DLC, different difficulties, seasons, and modes to try out as well. There is so much I didn't talk about with Diablo 3, because there's a lot here as is, and the gameplay loop alone will suck hours of your time. Battling through all the different dungeons and levels with the squad was amazing. The addictive gameplay loop is simple enough for casual gamers like me to enjoy, but can also be very in-depth for the more hardcore Diablo players. Yeah, if you haven't played Diablo 3, you should give it a shot. It was fun for long periods of time, and it was also fun with short bursts. And it was really fun with my friends. And that is why Diablo 3 is so addicting. Plus, each copy comes with a complimentary bag of cocaine. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We make videos like this every single week. We also have a Patreon if you want to support even more, where we have behind the scenes, we have extra podcasts, movie watch-alongs, and so much more. All the support is appreciated. Thank you guys so much, and as always, keep it rad.